This is quite a book, as you can see. It's the sort of thing which you need to ration yourself, really, about 10 pages a day, but you can do for a month and a half. It's got 450 pages in it. Astonishing. And it's called The Art of Looking Sideways. And that's what I'm going to be showing here with this and with the other books. It's sort of lateral thinking, which is something I love doing. This is a book, as you can see, I've read well because of all the little marks of things that I particularly liked and wanted to highlight. And the two big ones are the ones I want to show you. Out of 450 pages, I'll just show you 2 of the pages in detail, but these ones here are just lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. So here we go. Here's the first of them. Look at this, it's somewhere in Belgium, I think this is. It's a clothes shop with all the contents of the shop on the outside of the building, not the inside. Just look at all these jackets. I hope they're raincoats, actually, because they've got to stay out there overnight, I would think. The entire building is covered with these coats, which belongs to the clothes shop that's run from the door there. So what an extraordinary picture. Someone cycling past looking in amazement. So that was a wonderful thing to remember. And the other one, something you did send out to all my relations and friends for Christmas once, which is a charming little scene of a tete-a-tete, of a couple having a nice meal at a table, where you, the reader, has to do all the imagination, because all the words are there to lead you on. It's showing they're both friends. He's probably the man with stiff kind of caricature writing, and she's the lady, I suspect, and he's wearing these and she's wearing those. It's extraordinary how much information is actually there when you start looking at it. These are the wine they're drinking, vertical, that's a nice idea, and the chairs they're sitting on. The whole thing is there, and the fact they're having conversations and chatting at a higher level of the mind, all the way down to the bottom where they say crumbs. Oh yes, that's of course, that's what you have on a table, some crumbs at the end. So the whole thing is to picture each of those parts of the picture, just written as a word, and then your brain's got to work out and visualize it, and you get a complete representation of this charming little scene. What a most original idea that is, and well, the rest of the book's full of it, full of very, very clever ideas. So that's one. Here's another one which I like very much indeed. Again, I've seen it from cover to cover because I've done some kiting work as well myself. It's got some quite nice kites in it, but exceptionally interesting kites as well, which I want to just highlight too, but lots and lots and lots all about kites. So let's look at 2 particularly interesting kites in here. There's one here, which is, if I can get to it, I like the idea of a flying dog. Look at that. How on earth did they get that to fly? I suppose it's the amount of detail and cloth that's gone into the side of the animal, and the body and the upper leg gives enough lifting power to make it fly in the air. What a lovely idea. And this also flies. And then the last one I want to show is this extraordinary thing. That's an incredible kite, isn't it? These are all kites. I can't see where the kite strings are. Probably very, very fine ones or something as small as that. But it's got full of lovely, lovely ideas for kite flying. So I've had a lot of fun with reading that one from cover to cover. That's what these books are, all about cover to cover. This is one which is a much smaller book altogether. It's only got a few pictures, but I've got several books on Escher type pictures, and this is the only one I've ever seen which does pop up and brings it up into 3 dimensions, which is amazing. So here's the first of the few pictures. These are all well-known ones of Escher's incredible art form. This one here is a nice one because it's got a little tab to pull, just like in a children's one, but this is for adults to enjoy. Look at that. I think children will start to enjoy it too when they find the magic of Escher. And this is just nicely in 3 dimensionals, again a well-known picture. But over here we've got a very well-known picture with a mirror showing that marvellous distortion and him looking in the mirror of his own image. And I think my favourite one is this one here, which starts looking like that. When you open it up, it's turned into a pop, a Mobius band of the ants crawling over a frame. Isn't that marvellous? Absolutely amazing. So there's some fantastic stuff in a book on Escher, which I've read from cover to cover many, many times and enjoyed it. I attended a funny thing called a Cloud Appreciation Society in Britain, in my local town actually a few years ago. And one of the books that came out, I think, was this one here, and it just shows extraordinary clouds my favourite one I'll show you, and then I'll just run through the in-depth books. They call it it's showing a pig with 6 legs in it. These are probably stacks from chimneys or a little bit of man-made cloud there, and this looks vaguely like a pig. So pig with 6 legs, well, it could be that, I don't know. I mean, they show the same thing on the back from a different angle. The rest of it has got some very nice clouds, but nothing quite so remarkable as that. And it's all about the background of the clouds and a little bit of information about it. But that particular one, I think, is stunning. And even better, I think, was this one here, which again has a nice series of pictures in it of clouds and cloud formations. But my favourite one, by a long way, was the one that made me gasp when I saw it, which was the roll cloud, which happens more frequently in the northern parts of Australia against the Pacific Ocean. This thing here is about 100 miles long. It looks like a great carpet in the air. It's probably best seen if you're a pilot on an aircraft, because when you're up and roughly level with the altitude of the cloud yourself, you're looking directly at it, not up at it. And that extraordinary formation occurs when 2 air masses with very different densities and different temperatures come together and creates this astonishing cloud effect. So I've read that one from cover to cover more than once because it's got some lovely ideas, and that's my favourite cloud, I think. There's a book on Watsits, which I picked up when I was in Helsinki for the one and only time, where all the explanations were in Finnish, which bothered me at the time. But these are just everyday things which you have, say, about a century ago, or even nowadays, but in specialised situations. But it's all in Finnish, and there's lots and lots of pictures, and there's lots and lots of numbers to do it. And I slightly despaired until I discovered, to my joy, because I had this about 20 years ago, that I have actually got a typewritten thing which explains in English what these all things are. So by chance I came across 216. I opened up to 216 and looked at this thing here. Could this be, what on earth can that be? And there's no way I could have guessed that it was that thing. And it says on it here, 216 is a device used for pinching the upper lip of a horse or twitch. What on earth is all that about? Well, you probably don't need to be in the last century of that one. You just need to be a equestrian or someone dealing with horses a lot. Because I cannot possibly imagine that's what that's for. But the rest of it is full of most bizarre, interesting things. And the explanation, thank goodness, is in this very well written sheet of lots of pages and lots of it, just single lines saying what they all are. The Watsits compendium, and what an amazing range there is in that book. Even if it isn't finished, the pictures are finished, very, very pictorial and very nice. And the last pair I want to show you is another idea for a book, which again I've looked at several times. I've got a pair of them here, which are huge long panoramas you can buy. I suppose you can call it a book, but it does fold like that. But the thing is, it's got all the pages joined together like this. So what this shows is the Grand Canal of Venice. First of all, on one side, the north or the south side, and the other south or the north side is on the reverse side, with all the famous buildings of the Grand Canal. Something for you to take when you're sitting in your gondola being given a treat of a ride up the middle of Venice on the Grand Canal, and you can look at all the buildings and then refer to what they actually are, and what they're called, and possibly from the guide get some information about it. And the idea of having this in your house on a wall, on a huge panorama, which is very long, well, it'll stretch right across the studio if I set it out here, would be an amazing thing to do. So a grand thing to carry. And then coming much closer to home, I found one on the River Thames with the same idea, which shows the River Thames from Canary Wharf and quite near the estuary up into just the other side of central London, near me at Kew Bridge, I think it does. And this is very nice a way of displaying it. Let's see if I can get to the page. So we start down at Canary Wharf, right down at the bottom, I think, and then we start working our way up to the house to the central London, and we come up to the Battersea Power Station and so on. And it's a wonderful way of getting to see the Thames with all these bridges going over it. And when it gets to the top of the Thames, it nearly shows where I live, but not quite. Just gets up as far as Kew Bridge. Well, that's a near miss. But that's been a lot of fun to look through and to admire the pictures, because I've had a boat on the River Thames for many, many years now. A lot of this I've seen from bank to bank and many, many times as I've gone past it. So what a lovely treat to have when I'm actually in my launch and having a trip. Books that I love and actually do look at and read from cover to cover. What ideas? Wonderful. Look sideways. Huh.